Welcome to the Elk Talk Podcast with Randy Newberg and Corey Jacobson. Presented by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
The goal is, what little you and I know about elk hunting, we share with people.
I've got an elk building, it's like 120 yards away. What do I do? First off, the thought would never cross my mind when an elk's being 120 yards away to call anybody on a cell phone.
All elk?
All the time? Only elk?
Only elk.
Well, it's us having conversations, so we usually go down some rabbit holes, but
If you hunt with Corey Jacobson, you will find the landscape is full of rabbit holes. We're just going to make this up as we go.
and you look at it like, oh, that's a target-rich environment. But if you're trying to single one out, a solo target there is much easier to go into than a big group.
We record everything, so there's no BSing, no lying, no faking it with us.
Did we hit the record
I
button?
thought I forgot to hit the record button. If you want to know something about elk hunting, this probably isn't the podcast to listen to. Should we give them a list of all the other podcasts where they might learn something?
Corey, how you doing today?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. How are
Glad
you?
I thought I was over the crud. I had every hooboo and pox you can think of, trade show season. I was laid up for a while. And then they brought me over to Mountain Tough today to start on a new course called the Always Ready 50 Plus. I'm like, wait a second, folks. 2 years ago, that was appropriate to say 50 plus. Now it should say 60 plus because I'm 61. Well, the guy working out with me, Chris, is 55. So I guess I got to stick with the 50 plus. But I don't know what I picked up while I was over there. But I'm back sneezing and blowing my nose and I'm all stuffed up. And I don't know. I am such a wimp anymore, Corey. That's what I've concluded. They say the more that you exercise your immune system, the stronger it gets. I
Yeah.
think I think I'm the antithesis of that. I think I'm just like some sort of wimpy, some accountant is what I am.
It
But
just sounds to me like you're allergic to working out.
no, you might be onto something there. Well, that could be. I hope I'm not because this is going to be a 12-week course. The last one I did was a 9-week course. Like, you guys are going to cramp my style with my fishing over the summer if you're going to
No
make me
kidding.
film and do all this stuff. And I'm looking at the calendar and like, man, I don't know how we're going to get this done before hunting season. But we will.
Well, you got to get it done in time to let people have 12 weeks before hunting season so they
Right,
can get through it too.
Well, here's what they're planning to do. They're planning on releasing the first stuff really early. So then we're kind of like, we got to finish it out. Is because if they want people to start on it early in the summer and we're still in process of recording, man, the pressure is on. So
I hate that. We do that with Destination Elk. We launch the first one before the whole series is done, and by the time we get to the end of the series, it starts catching up, and then we're working around the clock trying to get it out on time.
man. So how's Destination Elk coming along? It's you guys have been running episodes now for a better part of what, 6 or 7 weeks?
Yeah, well, about a month. Yeah, I guess pushing
Oh,
6
okay.
weeks. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's going good. We're through the first 10 or 11 episodes, and I think we've got 16 total. So yeah, we're 2/3 of the way through, and it's been really good. There's been quite a few elk that have died, and some good call-ins, and a couple good dad jokes, and it's been a good series.
Yeah. Yeah, I ran into Donnie at the sheep show. He and I were hanging out at the Peaks booth.
Ah,
And he was soliciting dad jokes nonstop while he was there. I'm like, Donnie, how do you remember all these
no
dad
kidding.
jokes?
It's so
So
funny. He was at Hunt Expo last week, or whenever that was, 2 weeks ago, and same thing. Everybody that came up wanted to see Donnie and ask him for a dad joke.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, It's that time of year where there's the only thing going on really is tag applications, trade shows, and getting sick.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Yes.
if they're in any specific order, but
The
I,
trade show and then getting sick are definitely a
yeah, those,
prerequisite. That's I was at Hunt Expo and got home, and the next day I was like, I can feel something deep down in my chest stirring, and I was taking the vitamin C and everything you could do to boost it, and it kept it away for about 3 or 4 days, and then it hit. So I'm still
yeah,
kind of like you, recovering from all the sinus junk and stuffed up.
yeah. Well, I did SHOT Show, I did Sheep Show back to back, and then I did the Portland Northwest Pacific Sports Show, and then I got home, and then I did a little show out in Northeast Montana, in Glasgow, Montana. It really wasn't a show; it was a fundraiser event, and got home last night actually. You don't fly to Glasgow, Montana. You drive all 7 hours or
Oh,
however far it was, but that's all right.
yeah,
It's a fun drive. In Montana you get a lot of windshield time. So Audible, the book download thing.
yeah.
I when I was in high school, I read all of James Fenimore Cooper's books, the Leather Stocking Tales, and I started re-listening to them again. I just finished up Deer Slayer uh, on the way home yesterday. So it's fun to think about those old books that really formed a lot of my ideas about hunting. You know, Deer Slayer is Natty Bumppo is like known as the greatest deer hunter in all of the colonies, and he's it's a lot of other adventure besides that, but I remember reading that book when I was about 13 or 14. I was like, why didn't my parents name me Natty Nathaniel? What? I want to be a deer hunter. I don't deer slayer was his name.
Yeah.
Not deer hunter, deer slayer. And I got stuck with Randall.
It's a good accountant name.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. But
Uh,
anyhow, none of that has anything to do with elk hunting really. But
no.
that's kind of the substance of this podcast is there's a lot of things that don't have much to do with elk hunting. And I
Eh,
will tell you, I don't know if the feedback you've got, but at all the shows I've been to this year, everybody has said, please don't stop. Just keep doing the the diversions
the
and the
rambling rabbit holes.
yeah. I told them, well, usually, we kind of think we're going down the road, and then one of us hangs it down in the ditch. And occasionally we go down through the ditch and through the barbed wire on the other side of the ditch. And every once in a while we get out in the farmer's pasture. We're looking around. We're so far from the road we started on, we didn't even know how we got there or how to get back. So we just shut it down. And, and people are like, well, just keep doing that.
Yep.
So,
That's what there are several people at Hunt Expo that came up and said, it just feels like we're sitting around a campfire with you and Randy. And you guys are just talking about whatever comes to mind. So long as they're okay
uh,
with that, we can do that for sure. Feel like we
yeah.
should give them a little bit of value once in a while, but
Yeah, we probably should. We should probably let them know that the New Mexico deadline is March 19th, huh?
ooh, that is coming up.
You
What's
applying in New
behind us?
Mexico this year?
I don't think so. It's New Mexico is
Yeah,
such a long ways to get to.
yeah.
And I just, every, I don't know, 5 or 6 years or so, I'll get on a little kick and apply a couple times. But I just started
Yeah.
looking at all the points I have everywhere and the hunts that I need to be doing. And I've got to kind of prioritize. And
Mm.
I've got be pushing 20 points. Well, I'll have 20 points in Arizona, which results for Arizona just came out, and
Yep.
I just got another point. But Oregon, I'm back up to I think 12 or 13 points, which
Mm.
again, a lot of these like Oregon, I'm never going to draw any of the good units. So with 13 points, I'm looking at it going, I'm probably better off just going in with a couple other people and drawing one of the 3 or 4 point units instead of burning points there. Colorado's kind of the same. I'll never get one of the good
Yeah.
tags there again. So I need to be looking every 3 or 4 years there. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I've got some, I mean, Montana, I think I have 13 bonus points in Montana. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Phew. Dang, you got more points than I'll ever have. I won't live long enough to get. I mean, I'm 61. The odds of me getting 20 points somewhere is pretty slim.
Uh,
I mean, I'm kind of an optimist, but there is a point where optimism does
meets
not stay
realism.
with. Yeah, exactly. Goes way outside the bounds of reality.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't plan on drawing in Arizona. When you apply for an early rifle tag with like 4 points, you're probably not gonna draw.
Yeah.
And the funny part is the number of people on my Hunt Talk forum and out on some of the social media who can't believe 5 years in a row I haven't drawn the early rifle tag in Unit 10 in Arizona. Well, yeah, with 5 points, your odds are 0.003%.
Yeah.
Why would you set your expectations so high that it would disappoint you if the one in whatever that would be 5,000 chance didn't happen?
Yeah.
It's like
Well, and it's the
someone,
same in Idaho where we don't have points. You hear
yeah,
people say, "I've been putting in for 20 years and never drawn." Well, you're putting in for a tag that's 3% draw odds. The odds are once every 33 years. Those are the true odds. And the reality is there's somebody that drew it two or three times in the last 10 years. So they've skewed your odds to, yeah,
yeah.
you got to be realistic when you're going for it.
Yeah, I quite honestly, if I would have drawn Arizona, I wouldn't have told anybody because
Yeah.
they'd have been like, "Man, the deck is stacked or something. Get an investigation going." But no, yeah, I got applied for Wyoming. I'll probably modify my application before the modification deadline of sometime in early May. I usually have an idea in January that is way different by the time April and May roll around. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't think I'm going to apply in New Mexico. Like you said, it's pretty long trot. Uh, and I got a lot going on, and I live in a state where if I really want to archery hunt, my archery hunting in Montana is better than my rifle hunting.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to
And it's
travel out of
6 weeks long.
yeah. If I'm going to travel out of state to hunt, I should travel out of state to hunt mule deer or to rifle hunt elk, not to archery hunt elk. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I say that, and then I'll be one of those guys who at the last minute decide, what the heck? I don't know. Hard to
Well, it's
say.
hard to pass up the opportunity to maybe draw one of those really good tags down there. So somebody's got to
Yeah,
draw it. And if you don't put in, you don't have a chance. So,
that's true. Maybe I should apply for one of those. They have some December archery elk hunts.
oh, those would be a blast. Cold, frozen, crunchy ground with elk that are in their hidey holes that aren't talking, and you're there with a bow and an arrow. That just sounds like a lot of fun to me.
So you might have just talked me into it, Corey.
I hope so. You talked me into Alaska once, and I owe
Oh,
you. I owe you something.
yeah. Well, most of those hunts are around Christmas, and I already have applied my privileges to the furthest extent by the time Thanksgiving comes around. So I don't know if it would be a good idea to add Christmas absence to the slate. I
Probably not.
if I did, she might say your Christmas packages are going to be out on the street, pal.
That's right. I'll just
Along
send them.
along with along with all your other stuff.
Yeah, I'll just send them down to New Mexico. You can open them there.
Oh yeah. So I don't know what I'll do in New Mexico. I don't know what I'll do in Colorado either, because after New Mexico, then it's Montana and Colorado.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably be a right. I always tell people don't be a point buyer. Uh, and look at me in Colorado. A lot of times I end up being a point buyer because it's a true preference point system,
Yep.
and I can
Yep.
actually predict a little bit. But with the change coming in Colorado in 2028, we saw a little bit of it last year where at least with the deer stuff, it really threw some people who've been on the sidelines forever just buying points. They jumped in last year.
Yeah,
And I wonder if we're going to see a lot of that this year in 26 and then a whole
whole
lot of it
bunch.
in 27. I don't know. Maybe I'll ride it out until 28 and
See what
let everyone
happens when the
let all
dust
the
settles.
yeah, let all the high point holders get it out of their system in the next
Yeah.
couple of years. I don't know.
Well, and I'm
Hard to
sitting
say,
there with
but
mule deer. I'm 20 points in Colorado, and you know,
mm,
I've drawn twice in the last 5 years, and I keep turning it back in, and then you lose the point from that year.
yeah,
So I've missed out on 2 points, which 22 points doesn't really get you a lot more than 20, but I'm kind of the
yeah.
same. I feel like I need to use those before 2028 hits.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm drawing Nevada elk, so I should just hold off on
Yeah,
any other
this
application.
is my first year I'm going to apply, so
Oh,
I've
you
got
are?
I've got I think 13 points in Nevada, so I
Oh,
figure
you got more.
might as well start applying.
Yeah, you got more than I do. Uh, but I always joke, oh yeah, I'm gonna draw Nevada. Nevada elk's gonna take up my whole schedule.
Yeah,
That hasn't happened since 2005. So
I was looking though. They have units in Nevada where the bull to cow ratio is 105 to 100. Means there's
yeah,
more bulls than cows.
yep. And they just did tweak their elk management plan for 2026, which, if the commission approves what the biologists recommend, it now gives the biologist the opportunity in those kind of units you're talking about to crank up tag numbers.
Hmm.
So,
Well, unfortunately, most of the units only have one or two, maybe three non-resident tags. So if they crank them up, it's not going to benefit us a whole bunch.
or if you look at it from a percentage, Corey, if it goes from 3 to 4, that's a 33% increase in
True.
tags.
Very true.
So, yeah,
And
I was,
with your points being squared, I mean, I don't know what the math is, but that's got to increase you by like
uh,
9x or something, right?
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's the joke around the office here that I'm going to draw Nevada elk this year. Only the only joke bigger to that is when I say I'm going to draw sheep this year. Uh, oh well, but we've got a lot of really interesting emails lately.
We have.
A lot of people thanking us for what we've done. Some people have though complained that we had a little gap there.
We
In
did.
fact, somebody stopped me at the show in Portland, like, what do you guys do? I mean, all you do is a podcast. You can't even get a podcast done. I'm like, man, I wish all I had to do every day was a podcast. I'd have them stacked up here 10 deep. But, so,
Well, and the hard part is just getting you and I on the same page
yeah,
and the same schedule. And the last several
yeah,
weeks has been between you at
yeah,
shows, and I've been traveling and had
yeah.
spent a week in court, which was
Mm,
always, those are always fun times. But I'd much rather
yeah.
been recording podcasts the whole week. I'll tell you that.
I would much rather be playing Frogger out here on the interstate than be in court for a week. But,
Yeah.
uh,
Uh,
no, when I did the show in Oregon, I do these seminars usually about elk hunting. And one of the things, I've been doing that show now for close to 10 years. And Oregon has had to really change their regulations, and whether it's
yeah.
mule deer, whether it's elk, they just have a booming population there, kind of like you guys are starting to experience in Idaho. Uh, and so a lot of those people are now talking about hunting out of state. I mean, it used to be a rare question about hunting out of state because they could go just buy their elk tag, for Rockies,
Yep.
in the central and eastern part of the state. They could just go get an archery tag over the counter. And well, now that a lot of that has changed, that's creating a displacement. And it's interesting, a lot of the questions I get there. But when I tell them that in Idaho, you guys have a month-long archery season, they're like, "What?" I'm like,
Well, they have
"Yeah."
almost a month in Oregon, so
Well, yeah, but it's not over the counter like you guys are
yeah.
for
But it
residents.
was.
Not-
I mean,
Yeah,
and that's what
it
was it,
was.
3, 4 years ago when Oregon changed, and
Yeah,
yeah, it went from over the counter to a draw, which the draw odds for a resident are still fairly high in those eastern states. But like you said, it caused some displacement, and where the
yeah,
Roosevelt hunting on the coast is still over the counter, they've really
uh,
taken a hit. A lot of people that used to go to
yeah,
the eastern side from the coastal side are now just staying home, and a lot of the people on the east side are going to the coast. So it
yeah.
does. I mean, anytime there's a change, it's going to create some
Displacement
residual
and
effects.
change. Yeah, yeah. So I told them all, I'm like, if you guys are gonna move, just stop in Idaho. Don't make it to Montana.
That's what you said when Oregon is growing. I'm like, it can't be growing because it seems like everybody from there is coming to Idaho and Montana. So,
Yeah. No, and then people are asking me like, well, what's Montana season dates? I kind of mumble and mush mouth, and then when I tell them that you get on the same tag for your 6 weeks of archery, you also get 5 weeks of rifle and 10 days of muzzleloader. They turn up their hearing aids like I couldn't have heard that
yeah.
properly.
Did you
What'd you
say
say,
days?
Newberg? Yeah. And so yeah, but for me, it's always helpful to go to these other states because there's a lot of people from Washington come to that show, and then going to the sheep show in Nevada and shows I do in other places. You really come to understand how how difficult it is for some of them to have a predictable elk hunt every year.
Yeah.
And
And it's gotten
so
harder. You and I would talk, what, 4 or 5 years ago. It was still possible to have an guaranteed elk tag every year.
yeah,
And now that Colorado's gone to draw, Eastern Oregon's gone to a draw, Idaho's a draw for non-residents. I
yeah,
mean, there are over-the-counter opportunities in a few states for non-residents, but man,
not
they're
what it
not
used to
fun
be.
hunts.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did actually when Marcus filled in the other day for you, I'd pulled up the population growth of the Rocky Mountain states.
Yeah.
Some of the highest percentage, and even in terms of true numbers, of population growth has happened in the elk and mule deer states of the West.
Yep.
The three lowest in terms of percentage population growth, Montana was lowest. Next to just slightly above Montana was Wyoming, and not too far above Wyoming was Idaho. And I don't know, is there a correlation that those states haven't grown nearly as fast as the others that we still have over the counter general tags for residents? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, and I think, are you talking actual numbers or percentage? Because Idaho, I think, is in,
Percentage.
yeah, Idaho's in,
Yeah,
it was in the top three for growth in the last,
yeah,
I think, six
yeah.
years or something.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. I forgot to tell you the measurement period. It was my lifetime.
Oh, okay.
So from the year I was born until the last data I had, I think was 2024 was the last census data I could find. So yeah,
Yeah.
you guys had grown 260% over my lifetime.
Yeah. And it's,
Montana was like 140% over my lifetime, and I think Wyoming had grown 170% over my lifetime.
which is amazing
Colorado,
because
yeah.
Wyoming is, I mean, I would love to live in Wyoming just for the resident
Mhm.
hunting opportunities, but
Oh yeah.
Wyoming is not a fun place to live. That's,
It's not for the timid souls, let's put
yeah.
it that way. Yeah. But Colorado, off the
Yeah.
charts population growth. Oregon, off the charts population growth. Nevada was Nevada and Arizona were neck and neck for the greatest amount of population growth over my lifetime. I think Nevada won, and then followed by Arizona, then Utah. Uh, and so the reality of that is those states, I mean, I think Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming probably, when it comes to elk hunting, can look in the out the window at their neighboring states to the south and southwest and see what someday is going to happen as our population growth does what theirs did in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And the downside of that is, it someday Idaho is going to say we're not giving away 12,000 non-resident elk tags anymore.
Yep.
That's just too many for the amount of resident demand we have. And Wyoming's going to say we're not giving away 8,000 anymore, and Montana's going to say we're not giving away 17,000 anymore.
Yep.
Just because of resident population growth. That's just, I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime if those states will grow that much, but that's that's what has happened in all the other states that have really had to cinch down season lengths, choose your weapon, every hunt is a draw, and cut the non-resident percentage.
Yep.
I mean, that's what New Mexico has done. It's Arizona's always been that 10%. Oregon did that. So I don't want to be a pessimist, but
But
if
that's the
you
reality of it is, and that's, it comes
uh,
down to states try to give non-residents some opportunity.
right,
But if it comes down to choosing between cutting opportunity for a non-resident or a resident,
yeah,
they're going to cut the non-resident, and it's going
yeah,
to eventually hit the residents too. And I think that's
right,
the hard part is, we're trying to hold on, but there's going
hmm
to come a day where Idaho's going to grow to the point where resident hunting opportunity is going to have to be limited for the
yeah,
most part. Either that, or you're going to have to accept 5% success rates and really hard hunting because the numbers are down so much. And
yeah,
there's just a delicate balance there of trying to keep opportunity and quality and doing all of
yeah,
that you can't keep up with as population grows.
yeah. Yeah, so I hope that I'm dead by the time that happens in Montana. Not that I'm wishing an early demise upon myself, but I remember the first time I bought an elk tag in Montana. And if I've said this before, uh, I apologize. But I came home, I was so excited that I bought an elk tag over the counter, right? I'd reached my residency period because I moved here in the late summer. So I didn't have I think it was 6 months at the time. I don't know what it is now. I didn't have my residency in 1991, which was a banner year. Got 35 inches of snow on Halloween. There were people shooting elk in the ditch along the interstate. And I'm like, boy, this is going to be fun. So the next year I come home, I am so excited. I'd bought my entire sportsman's license, which was deer, elk, and bear, and upland bird and fishing and everything. And Kim, she says, I hope you fill all those tags because you think it just cost you 40 or $60. That's a $30,000 elk tag, she said. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, remember the pay cuts we took? I'm like, ooh. I was hoping she'd forget that, but she
Yeah.
never did. So, but oh well, it just is what. That's how bad I wanted to live in a place where I could buy my elk tag over the counter. And I know I, as a CPA, right, who's supposed to be given financial advice, it was the dumbest financial decision. I would never have told one of my clients to do that.
Well, I'm sure you broke it
But
out and said, well, it's amortized over the next 60 years. So it's
uh,
not that big of a deal. And then she probably said, well, Randy, actually it's $30,000 each year a pay
per year,
cut. So yeah.
yeah. Plus, if you compound the price of that license that the legislature increases by 5% every 10 years, and the opportunity cost and the time value of money, about 10 years from now, that license is going to be a $50,000 license.
Yep.
I was smart enough to put the shovel down because I knew I had already dug a hole. But
Well,
so
that's when that
I
wasn't it Jeff Foxworthy that said, well, that equates to a couple $100 a pound for elk meat. I could go to the store and buy you a $20 a pound ribeye, but my family deserves much more than that. So that's how you get away
Oh,
with the opportunity cost there and the expense of hunting elk.
huh. I've not tried that one. I don't know if that would fly in my marriage advice seminars, but
I
yeah, they
can't
give it.
imagine much does fly in your marriage advice seminars. Well, I know there's a lot of stuff flying around. I don't know that much of it sticks.
Oh man, I really got out in the weeds in one of my sessions in Portland. No one was asking enough questions, so I started down the
Just giving
marriage advice.
advice.
Yeah, and I came up with some other really good ones, but I got to save those for a special podcast. And but it was my 37th. So here's how I kind of got into it. I'm there doing the seminar in Portland. I got pink dye all over my fingers because I'd been steelhead fishing a couple days before on my 37th wedding anniversary. I'm like, you guys want to take advice from the guy who hunts 100 days a year, fishes 40 to 60 days a year, and can even go fishing on his 37th wedding anniversary without getting in trouble? That's the guy you want marriage advice from. Look,
Very
and I
true.
showed him my fingers, and had a lot of guys nodding their head like, yeah, yeah. And I had a lot of women looking at him like, just shut up, pal. It's
Yep.
going to be a long ride home for you. So,
Uh,
uh,
so,
oh well.
question for you:
Yeah.
Was your wife fishing with you?
No,
You
she
went
wasn't.
fishing on your anniversary by yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. I, I, I don't want to go too far into the weeds here, but maybe it's best that we don't take marital advice from you because there might have been a
Oh,
reason you were fishing by yourself on your anniversary.
well, let me give more context to it.
Okay.
Her mom is 86 and is in failing health, and she was there taking care of her mom. Her mom lives in Eugene, Oregon, and so she said, I got to go down and help with my mom, and I want to spend more time with my mom, and I hate to do that on our anniversary. I'm like, oh, honey, I get it. I mean, and I do sincerely want her to spend as much time with
Yeah,
her mom, at her elderly age. And I said, and besides that, Matthew said that they had a spare seat in the boat, so it's not like I won't have anything to do. And she said, you should go fishing with your son on our anniversary. So there's the full context there
well, and I
of
think
how it was. So
to give a little bit more perspective there, I don't think it's necessarily that your marital advice is great. You just happen to have a really good wife.
there's a lot of people point that out, Corey. But when they're sitting in the crowd and they're asking elk hunting questions, and they say, well, your wife, it seems to be like the most understanding person on the planet based on what we hear on podcasts and stuff. And they're dumb enough to say that while their wife is sitting right next to them. I'm like, pal, you think you just made a comparative analysis without even knowing you did that? Because when you say, Randy, your wife, and his wife sitting right there, what do you suppose she thinks?
Yeah. Oh, she's going to tell
Yeah,
him what she thinks at some point.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad they usually hold off till they leave
Yeah.
the seminar. But anyhow,
No,
so
if you
that's
want my marital advice on the
yeah,
whole subject, it's
yeah,
just tell your wife thank you for whatever you're able
yeah,
to get away with. So that's
absolutely,
that's
yeah, yeah. And I fully believe what I was told as a young man that I don't bring anything to the table that she couldn't replace by noon tomorrow. So that's kind of I'm fully aware of that. So whenever I feel like she might be trying to replace me by noon tomorrow, I straighten up. So,
which
but
is probably a daily straightening for you. That's
yeah, yeah. Gosh, it
uh,
kind of is, Corey. Yeah, I'll go back to your comment just a minute ago that I married so far up in life that I didn't even know the ladder went that high. Uh, I I don't know how I pulled it off, but the good part is she never listens to my podcast.
Yeah. Well,
But
unfortunately, my wife does listen, so I'll make sure
yeah,
she knows that I also married way above the ladder that I was able to climb up. So,
yeah, I think if most guys admit it, they would they, or thought about it, they'd have to
yeah.
admit that they did. But so are you practicing at this point in the season? Your archery shooting?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I thought you were going to say your elk calling, and I was like, I need to because the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation just sent out an email and announced the dates for the World Elk Calling Championship this year. So,
Huh. I didn't get that email.
you didn't?
No.
You didn't get
I'm
an
pretty
email about their big game event in Missoula, Montana in July?
Yeah, but I wasn't invited to be a caller or anything. I was told I got to be there, hand out dilly bars or something, but
Ooh.
I was not invited to the elk calling thing, which I'm quite thankful for because I mean, I get a lot of comments on my YouTube videos. Randy, you should just shut up and not call. Okay.
Uh,
All
thank
right.
you.
You're right. You're probably right.
Uh,
But yeah, that's what July 16th through the 19th or
I think
something in
so.
Missoula.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the I've been told here's all the things I'm supposed to do there. I'm supposed to lead a workout called Elk Tough, where I think someone's I I think someone's getting an elk hunt out of this. I think they're gonna sign up.
What?
I don't know what it is, 500 people to do the workout with Mountain Tough. And one of those 500 people are going to get an unbelievable elk hunt out of it.
Wow.
And I'm supposed to MC it and do the workout. I
MC it
mean, if I,
and do the workout?
yeah, I
I
mean, if,
usually can't talk if I'm working out.
well, they want me to run the course early and then MC it. Well, I might tip over out there.
They better have a backup plan.
Yeah. So, but no, I think it's really cool because if you look at the mission of the Elk Foundation, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, it's to ensure the future of elk, other wildlife, its habitat, and our hunting heritage. And the last few years, the Elk Foundation has really been leaning in hard on the other wildlife part too,
Yeah.
because they know what they do helps elk, whether it's access, whether it's conservation easements that keep winter range from being developed or whatever it is. And so they want to celebrate elk and other wildlife. So that's why they're calling it Big Game Days. Isn't that what the title that was in that email?
Yep.
Big Game Days.
Yep.
So yeah, be in Missoula, Montana in the third week or whatever week that is in July.
Yeah. They're gonna, yeah.
Corey,
Archery shoot up at the ski resort there, and
yeah, Total
we're gonna
Archery
be
Challenge.
doing. I think outdoor classes doing something where
Mhm.
they're selecting somebody to get to shoot with Donnie and I up there one day, and then we'll be at the
Yeah,
elk calling contest a couple days, and I think they have you and I
yeah,
slated to do some kind of a live
yeah.
podcast or Q&A or
Something like
something.
that. Yeah, I think they wanted me to give some sort of tour of the custom ice cream shops of Missoula or something. Like four,
Sign me
four,
up.
4 or 5 people are gonna get to tag along with me, and we're gonna go sample ice cream or
Oh
something. I don't know.
man,
Yeah,
that kind
just
of
saying.
contradicts. You're gonna do the Mountain Tough workout in the morning and then go and sample
I'm
ice
gonna do.
cream.
Yeah, yeah.
Guess you
That's gonna be my
guess you've earned
reward.
it at that point. Yeah.
I would hope so. So yeah, that's gonna be really cool to see how that all comes together. They're trying to do more hands-on events, which I think is good. A lot of people uh, they're 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 looking for something hands-on. If you want to do a real hands-on event out on rmef.org under the volunteer tab, there's all kinds of get your boots dirty kind of projects, fence poles and cutting down,
They have those
pinyon
listed on the
juniper.
website by state.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah. Like I know the Montana rendezvous, most of them they try to do around the state rendezvous. And the Montana Rendezvous is in June, and I know they're going to do one then. Uh, so uh, they have it. They have their a lot of their event stuff. And if you have any questions, get a hold of the regional director in your state, and they have a list also of all the things that you can do to put more elk on the ground. So,
Very cool.
but yeah, yeah, I'm all about more elk on the ground, whether it's in my home state or in a state I'm not a resident of, because my theory is more elk in Wyoming means more tags, and more tags means that 16% non-resident quota applied to a bigger number of tags is good.
Yeah,
I I
absolutely.
I've, I don't know, me. I've never heard anyone say, "Boy, I wish they issued fewer non-resident tags."
Well,
I've
hold
never,
on.
I've not.
You've never heard anybody say, "I wish they issued fewer non-resident tags"?
Well, the residents
Yeah, I
do,
was just going to
but
say, just
yeah,
about every state, that's what the residents are
right,
asking for.
okay.
But yeah, and I
I have
think
never, I've, yeah,
no, and it just
so,
your point for years has been give us a bigger pie, make the pie
yeah,
bigger. And that's the only solution. We're not
yeah,
the only other solution is to limit us as residents or
right,
non-residents in the number of
yeah.
tags that are available. The only way to increase that and to take some of that sting away is to put more elk on the landscape. And
Yep. And that's why, when it comes to putting more elk on the landscape, this resident versus non-resident divide and arguing and fighting is not helpful,
yeah,
because what's good for residents is more elk on the mountain. What is good for non-residents is more elk on the mountain. So let's work on wherever we can to put more elk on the mountain.
and if we aren't putting more
And
elk on the mountain and we do get our way, meaning our way as residents and there's fewer non-residents, at some point the number of residents is going to encroach upon what's the capacity, and now we're going to lose opportunity and there's not going to be any going back. So the only solution is to get out in front of it and more access, more elk on the mountain. That's what we have to be doing. And so that
yep,
goes, and people ask all the time, well, you guys talk about these great ideas, but what's something that can actually be done? How do you put another elk on the mountain?
yeah,
Well, you go out and kill one wolf, you just put 26 elk on the mountain that one year.
yeah, yeah.
You go out
I'm,
and bear hunt in the spring. You just
yeah,
put however many calf elk back on the mountain that year. So there's things we can do as hunters without having to get really creative just in the management, which is part of hunting.
right. And that's why I don't care if you're a pronghorn nut, a mule deer nut, an elk nut. The national groups that represent those species do a lot of stuff across state lines, uh, in
Yeah.
DC, in policy stuff that just helps the habitat. There's really the component of the management plans, which are usually a state issue, and the season settings and the quotas. But then, in a lot of instances, at least the places where we have access to, it's the habitat and the access, which is a federal issue. Well, you need someone who can go to DC and represent hunters and represent elk and elk habitat and access for hunters in DC.
Yeah.
And all of this, it's not like the puzzle is just its own, this is a piece and it's its own puzzle. No, they're all parts of a much bigger puzzle. So you can help in any one of those areas.
Yeah.
There's many of them as you want to. So, yeah, I do think it's cool that in my lifetime, uh, well, yeah, in my lifetime, elk have went from 550,000 to almost 1.2 million.
Yeah.
And in the lifetime before me, if you want to measure 61 years prior to me, they went from 25,000 to almost 500,000. So a lot of people did some heavy lifting
Yeah.
back in the 1900s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s to get them up to where they were.
Yep.
And so actually, I might be wrong in that. I think I think the 550,000 is when the Elk Foundation started in 1984. I think when I was born, the number was more just it was just under 400,000. But it's one of the few species in my lifetime that is at much higher numbers than it was
Yeah.
before. So,
And you just look at the
like,
reasons for that. It's, people say, well, hunting is out there to dwindle the population, to deplete the population. It's hunters and the whole
yeah.
management plan of hunting that has allowed the numbers to increase in conjunction with states wanting to increase it, with organizations like the Elk Foundation. There's been a lot of effort. It's not been just happenstance that elk numbers have exploded, but with that, hunting numbers have also exploded. And so
Yeah.
there's a balance there, and we need to keep pushing the number of elk on the mountain.
Yeah. And access is part of that.
Yeah.
Access has a couple components. Access to where the elk are, or putting elk where we already have access.
Yep.
And I I'm open to either one. I'd rather have more elk on the places we currently have access to. So that's a complicated challenge, though. Elk are smart. They don't want to die of lead poisoning,
Yep.
and so they go to these places. The more and more in the West, and I'm using Montana as the prime example because I see it so much. These ranches get bought up by people who don't allow any hunting, like zero hunting, not outfitted, not friends and family. And where do the elk stack up? Those places.
Yeah.
And everyone yells at the game and fish. Well, you got to figure out a way to get those elk off there.
Good luck.
Unless we're going to throw out the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution, which I'm not going to. How do you solve that problem? So, again, these aren't easy problems to solve. The access to elk is a big challenge,
It
and
is.
there's a lot of things
But
causing that
there's
to be
you
a
look at
challenge.
each state, and each state has different programs,
Yep.
built around landowners and private land and all that. And for as
Yeah.
horrible as California is for
Mhm.
hunting opportunity, they've
Yeah.
got a really good program for landowners. And we talk, I
Huh.
mean, landowner tags in a lot of state are a highly debated topic where sometimes
Yep.
landowners get free tags and they can sell them for a whole bunch of money and they don't have to allow access. They don't have to do anything. Well, in
Yeah.
California, the only way you're going to get a landowner tag there is to make habitat improvements to your land. And it's not just this program that you can just slide and say, oh yeah, I, opened up the water twice more a week and there was water flowing there. You have to get approved plans, approved habitat
Huh.
improvement plans, and then you have to implement it. And then they come and inspect it, and then they give you your tags. And there's been several cases
Wow.
where elk numbers have doubled and tripled and quadrupled on these private places to the point where they can't handle them all, and the elk are moving off onto public land adjacent to them. So I mean, there's things that can be
Yeah.
done
Huh.
to incentivize these private landowners to get involved and to do more. But I think the handouts that a lot of them are given don't give them an incentive to do more. It gives them an incentive to shut things down because they're benefiting without having to do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably the criticism when it comes out is if there is some program and the incentives are there to create the opposite effect versus improve elk numbers, improve habitat, and improve access, uh, you get some people who are not real happy about that. Which
Yeah.
that's I speak up when that happens also. But
You get a big tract of private land stuck somewhere, the elk are going to naturally go there because that is a sanctuary. And even if a piece of private
yeah,
land allows hunting, if that private land is managed for the habitat, it's still going to attract more elk, and they're going to be off limits to the
yeah,
majority of us.
right. And so that gets to the point of we need better habitat on our public lands.
Yep.
And there's, there's, we can go in, we've covered that a lot. And we, without going into all of the examples and all the problems, uh, if you can, when the time comes, when an issue comes up related to habitat improvement on public lands, weigh in on that, whether it's attend the meeting or go online and issue your comments, support the groups that are weighing in on it, contact your elected officials, because if they don't hear from us and the other side threatens to sue them or litigate them, or they just send in all kinds of comments against a habitat improvement project, then the, the agency's going to be like, well, we didn't hear from hunters, so they must not be a big deal.
Yeah.
And kind of becomes a self-fulfilling problem at that point. So
Yep.
I, yeah, I know. I'm sure people think I was a civics teacher in my last life, and but I don't know. I got an invite. I was supposed to be in DC this week, and I can't do it. I got a bajillion things. I can't be there. Oh, well, you can come next week. I'm like, no, you've not seen my calendar. Next week I am recording podcasts and recording videos on Monday and Tuesday, and then I got to fly to Redmond, Oregon on Wednesday. I wish I could be there, but
Yeah.
uh, as long as Congress is in session, nobody's property or hunting is safe.
Yep. And that's on the federal level, the Washington D.C. level. There's things going on in just about every
Yeah,
state right now too. That
yeah,
was
yeah,
Oregon they've got something coming up that.
yeah, yeah. That was one of the reasons, one of the opportunities I had when I went to the Oregon show, the Portland show. Is It's a great show. A lot of people think that Oregon is this weird place, and it's got Portland, which is unique. Uh, and But you get just outside of Portland to, my son lives in Beaverton and Hillsboro and a lot of the other places, Mount Hood. It's as, it's just normal America. And So meeting there with especially the Oregon Hunters Association, they do so much with so little for Oregon hunters. But the topic is, I think it's called IP28. It's a ballot initiative that they're close to having enough signatures because Oregon, relative to how large its population is, has a pretty low threshold of how many signatures it takes to get it on the ballot. So it's probably going to be on the ballot in November. And it pretty much gets rid of it. This isn't just an anti hunting, anti fishing, anti trapping thing. It gets rid of animal husbandry, ranching, any of the industries that support that, like butchery. I mean, it's like, what the hell are they going to eat in Oregon? That's, it, yeah, this person I know in Washington, she posted a thing and she called it the anti-food initiative.
It is.
Uh,
I mean,
it's really,
just the cost that it's going to drive up to process just your
yeah,
regular beef, and any of the ranchers there, they're going to have to go out of state to process it and then bring it back in state. I mean, there's a lot of residual effects that are just going to
yeah,
make it really expensive for all of those
yeah.
issues.
I mean, the person that has 8 laying hens in their backyard, not under that one. If you're a dog breeder, not under that one. You're taking the rights away from those puppies that you got there. It's like, where in the heck could something like this get conjured up?
Yeah.
But uh, what it's going to require is all Oregonians showing up and just thumping this thing. Unfortunately, the preliminary polling is that it's not going to pass. But we heard that same thing when they had a gun control initiative 4 years ago. Oh, it looks like it's not going to pass.
So no
Well,
one showed up.
exactly. And so it lost by, like, I can't remember, 2.5 points. Whereas if a bunch of people would have showed up, and most of the people who didn't vote on that 4 years ago, who stayed home, were people who would have voted against that ballot initiative. So I've told Oregon Hunters Association, whatever my platforms can do to just get the word out, get the vote out, get the vote out. Sign me up. I am. And anyone who thinks, well, I don't live in Oregon or I don't hunt in Oregon,
Yeah.
well, look at how when these things pop up or in Oregon, Washington, or California, how all of a sudden they end up in Colorado, and then they end up in New Mexico, and then they end up in Nevada.
Yep.
Uh,
Stop it.
this
Stop
is
it up
yeah,
front and send a
yeah,
message.
yeah. I'd love to see it get thumped 100-0, but I mean that's not going to happen. Uh, but if it was like 75 or 80% against,
Yeah.
that'd be like I, I don't know. It just it, it's there's so many things wrong with it. Is one, it's so arrogant to say this is my view of the world and the rest of the world is supposed to live by this view of the world. There's that level of arrogance and conceit. There's also the economics of, do you know how many people are going to be out of jobs in Oregon if you can't farm, you can't ranch, you
Yeah.
can't process food, you can't fish, you can't. I mean, commercial fishermen. Well, I guess you guys are all just supposed to go to Alaska. You know, it's like what? And uh, and then it's just using ballot boxes to
Politics.
manage.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, to manage wildlife, but this goes way beyond wildlife. Uh, it Everybody needs to show up. And if you're from out of state and you say, well, I can't vote there, well, think about making a donation to one of the groups. And on the hunting side, the Point of the Spear is the Oregon Hunters Association.
Yep.
And so I know a lot of the national groups are going to make donations and dump money into the media cause, because a lot of it is just how much media can you buy, right?
Yep.
Ads on TV, billboards, newspaper ads, places where folks are, social media ads. Yeah, it's uh, all this stuff, Corey. You're exactly right. It's not just DC. It's state issues.
Yeah.
It
Uh,
Fortunately in Montana, our legislature's not in session this year. It will be next year, but it's crazy.
yeah. Well, you look at Washington and the issues they've had with their Fish and Game Commission
Commission.
and
Yeah.
people that get appointed to that. Well, in Idaho right now, there's a bill that they're trying to get added that would allow the governor to appoint the director of the Fish and Game instead of being
Right.
appointed by the Fish and Game Commission the way it is right now, which
Right.
allows things to be managed by science and not politics. And you look at a state like
Yep.
Idaho, you have a good governor, everything's okay. He would probably appoint
Yep.
somebody that fits the bill for what we're trying to do, but that's not going to be the case in 4 years or in 10 years or in 12 years. And that's
Right.
where an entire fish and game department can get completely uprooted and appointed politically and become a political pawn rather than a science based management entity, which is what they're supposed to be. So, Idaho's dealing
Yep.
with that right now, which
Yeah.
hopefully it gets
I
shut down.
mean, Montana, we made that foolish move a long time ago, where we moved the director from being a, hired by the commission to being a governor appointee,
Yep.
and it is filled with so much politics, it's insane.
Yeah.
And I, people say, well, in Montana, you guys are still seem to be following the course. Well, there's still a lot of things. So much politics goes into it. I hate it. I don't care if you're left or right. You should not want politicians influencing how your science people operate.
Yeah. Unless it
And
goes against
so,
what you personally believe, and then your only option is to turn it into politics and try to use it
nope.
that way. And
Yeah.
uh,
So I hope you guys keep it how it is. I look at all the states. If I were to say commissioner appointee or commission appointed and hired versus governor appointed and hired, the amount of politics in states where it's a governor appointee is way higher.
yep,
It's unfortunate. But so I hope you guys don't allow that.
I know.
I did see Wyoming shot down a landowner elk tag bill in their
Nice.
legislature. Hunters showed up in mass. I mean, whoever mobilized all those hunters in Wyoming, they're like, no, we already have a program for landowners. They get, you know, their tags come off the top, and we got landowner coupons where we pay them. We enroll them in these public access projects or programs. We don't need this, and they got thumped.
That's
So
good.
good on Wyoming hunters for showing up and
Well, it just shows
standing up
what
for
has to
the
happen.
resource.
Like these
Right.
states, the hunters have to, if you have an opinion on something that you disagree with, you can't just say, well, my vote isn't going to count or my one little voice isn't going to make a difference. It does. Like that's the thing that you and I have been talking about for years is you have to get
Yeah.
involved. You have to contact the right people with the right message, and it does make a difference. 2,000
Yeah.
hunters banding together and sending individual messages there is going to overwhelm anybody that's in support of something like that. It doesn't take
Yeah.
500,000 or massive, massive numbers. Just do it.
No. Yeah. Yeah. So there's always in the circles that I run in and the issues I get involved in, I can just about always any week find an example of where hunters took a stand, they organized, they were informed, they were persistent, and they prevailed.
Yep.
And so Wyoming is definitely that. Colorado, they got a ballot initiative. I think it's a ballot initiative. I should look and make sure. It might be a commission action. I should know this. I need to talk to Dan Gates at the uh, Coloradans for Responsible Wildlife Management. It's an anti-fur ban about coyote hunting, trapping on public or private land. They pretty much got rid of most trapping on public land. So, but it's just another attempt to try, you know,
They,
pick off the vulnerable pieces of
yep.
of science-based management.
They did it in
And
Idaho last year. They got rid of trapping for wolves on public land after a certain date because of the chances of catching a grizzly bear in a wolf trap. So in units that have never had a grizzly bear, there's never been a grizzly bear step foot in some of these units, they still lost trapping on public land after March 1st or
wow,
whatever the dates are. It's different in different areas, but we will
wow,
lose piece by piece, opportunity by opportunity until we're standing there not realizing we lost it all.
yeah, yeah. And so I think in today's world, in addition to being a hunter and spending time researching and figuring out, planning your hunts, drawing your tags, I think it's incumbent on hunters in today's world, the reality of what we live in, to be an advocate. And people say, oh, you just say that, Nimber, because that's what you're all about. Well, the reason I'm all about that, I wish we could all just go hunt and fish and not have to deal with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Man, what I wouldn't give for that. But uh, that's not how it is. So I can wish for that. But if I just wish for that and stand silent when wildlife needs a voice, I'm gonna I'm not gonna be hunting or fishing.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to figure out golf as much as I would never. I'd take up I'd take up what's that? You throw the bean bag thing. What is that?
Cornhole.
Cornhole or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I'd take up
Pickleball
that
or
before. Yeah, I'd pick something. I'd start mowing my lawn again before I'd take up golf. But I mean, a guy's got to have some principles of
that's
his.
right. Hmm.
Hmm. Oh well. Hey, did you watch the Olympics?
I did.
Yeah, did you watch the U.S. Canada hockey game?
I didn't. It was on at 6 a.m., so I didn't get to watch it, but I saw the highlights.
I gotta. Well, when you grew up in northern Minnesota, right? This is almost like church. Not quite, but it's close to. You know, you got an early church gathering. So I got up and watched it, and I was trying to see what Connor Hellebuck, the goalie for the U.S. team, who, if it wasn't for him, U.S. would have lost about
Oh,
5 to
yeah.
1, and he had a largemouth bass painted on the side of his helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, man, wonder how we get an elk on the next 4 years from now. I wonder how we get him to wear an elk on
That'd
the
be pretty
side of his
cool.
helmet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but not that that has anything to do with elk hunting, but
Close.
he
It
probably,
will in 4
he,
years if he's wearing a helmet with an elk on it.
yeah, yeah. I wonder who will be the goalie for the U.S. team in 4 years. I don't know. Oh well.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get the Elk Foundation to ask around. Hey, will one of you guys wear our logo or our emblem? I would, but I don't think I'm going to make the Olympic goalie or anything like that.
I
So,
don't know. The way they
uh,
keep adding different sports to the Olympics, they're making it so just
yeah,
about anybody could go. There's
yeah, that's true. Yeah, falling down the mountain, if that becomes an Olympic sport, I'd probably get a bronze medal, if not a gold. But,
uh,
but well, Corey, we've kept them for over an hour.
yep.
You got any other things you got to add?
I don't think so. Just we're coming down,
Oh,
dust. Oh, go ahead.
no, add your
Okay,
destination
now I'm
elk
saying
thing.
Destination Elk. We're winding down. We've got a huge giveaway we're doing there. Actually, a couple giveaways. One of them, if you just go to elk101.com on the Destination Elk V8 page, so DEV8, you just sign up, and we're giving away 16 packages to well, a package to 16 different people throughout the series. So still time to get signed up for that. But the really big one is we teamed up with Peaks, Bryce and the guys at Peaks
Uh,
Equipment, and we're giving away $10,000 in elk hunting gear. So
what?
basically everything that I use to hunt elk. So bow, backpack, boots, camo, teepee, sleeping bags, the whole kit and caboodle. Somebody's going to win that through Destination Elk. And so if you go to peaksequipment.com, I think it's /DEV8 there also. You can see the details. But we've teamed up. We have a custom bugle tube. It's a tube that we've been using for the last 3 seasons, but we got a really cool cover on it for Destination Elk V8. So if you buy one of those, you get 2 entries, and if you buy the T-shirt, you get 1 entry, and that's how you enter. And somebody's going to win a pretty awesome prize package. So that's winding down, and anybody that's on the
Huh.
fence or hasn't heard about it, there's still a little bit of time to get in and get that done.
Yeah, well, they probably heard the ad in the podcast for Peaks, but if you are going to go buy some stuff at peaksequipment.com, promo code Elk Talk is going to save you some money.
Yep. And it'll save you 10% on those bugle tubes and those T-shirts as well when you buy them. So you'll get
Huh.
those for a discount, and you'll get entered to win a pretty cool prize package.
Yeah, well, any company that deals with us better give our audience a discount.
That's
We just
right.
we aren't having any of that. Yes, but so the thing that I was going to add is people send us lots of cool comments, and got a comment from a lady after in the episode that you were I can't remember if it was the one with you or the one with Marcus
It
where I
was
talked about
you and
this.
I talked about it a while back, and then I think you talked about it again in the episode with
Okay.
Marcus.
Yeah, when I was 9 years old, I think I was 8 or 9, I got a rare hip disease called Perthes. And this lady gets a hold of me. She's like, "Are you for real? Our son has Perthes. It's Perthes. And we've never run into anybody who has that. And he's going through all these struggles and you're not allowed to do anything. The treatment they had when I was a kid was you just immobilize your hip, and so you were on crutches for a few years because the artery that brings blood flow to the ball port at the top of the femur, the blood flow stops, and the femur just eventually rots away due to lack of blood flow. So, and then if you immobilize it, eventually it grows back. It's
Crazy.
so amazing. Yeah. Well, I had that when I was a kid, and so I was talking about it, and then this lady gets a hold of me, uh, her son Calvin has the same thing, and I feel terrible for him because I know how frustrating it is. You know, all your friends are out playing football or basketball or snowboarding or skiing or whatever, and you're not allowed to do any of that. And it's pretty lonely. You just feel left out of everything. And when you're, 9 years old, 10 years old, whatever I was, you 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 feel that life really isn't very fair.
Yeah.
And but anyhow, she asked me if I was going to be at the Hunt Expo you were at, and I said no, I'm not. I'm in Portland, but if he's around, let's do a Zoom call tomorrow morning. And so we did for about a half hour. He's a great
Yeah.
kid, very bashful, but
And
it was
just so you
fun.
know, they were at Hunt Expo, and I got to meet them as well. And I
Oh,
think
cool.
just a couple hours after they had talked to you, and they were very excited and very grateful that you took that time to reach out because it is. I mean,
Yeah,
at that age, you don't understand that it's going to get better. It just feels like
yeah,
today I can't play with my friends, and that stinks.
yeah,
And so if somebody's been through it
yeah.
and somebody like you that they're able to watch on TV and be like, look at that guy, he's still, you know, falls down once in a while on the mountain, but he's running up the mountain for the most part. And that's encouraging to somebody
Yeah,
to be able to see that hey, it's going to turn out okay.
yeah. And I guess the point of all that is you and I realize how lucky we are that platforms like this we can hopefully make a little difference in a lot of ways. And that was the best half hour, 45 minutes I could have ever spent. And when I got home from the gig I did this weekend, there was a thank you card in the mail from them. I
That's
I,
awesome.
I don't know how they got my address, but they've got to the right address. So, but no, it's the that those are the kind of things where I think you and I both feel like you guys do that hunt of a lifetime thing,
Yeah.
and the the value of using hunting because Calvin he wants to hunt. He's soon to be gonna go through hunter's ed, and in his mind he's probably thinking, well, how am I ever going to get to hunt? I can't even run right now.
Yeah.
uh, so I assured him that by the time I turned 12 my hip was healed, and I got to go hunting. And so I just think there's moments where a lot of people are probably going through something, and it doesn't take a lot of effort for you and I to do something. And I'll be honest with you, I I couldn't. It had such a smile on my face to see him and see him kind of perk up and smile as I'd talk.
Yeah.
I'm thankful they reached out. Those are really fun things to do. Kind of as you express how much gratitude or gratification you get when you guys go do that hunt of a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
So
No, and it is. It's just one of
uh,
those things that I almost feel selfish for wanting to do it anymore because it is so rewarding for us. Like we get so much out of it. I just have to remind myself I'm not doing it because I get so much out of it, but that is one of the benefits. It's so
yeah,
rewarding to do that I would never not do it because
yeah,
of the way I see one person's face light up and their parents, and
yeah,
to be able to have a dad that's gone through years of treatment with their children in cancer and everything. I fortunately I haven't had to deal with that, and I don't know what
yeah,
that's like, but I'm grateful I haven't
yeah,
had to. And part of that is finding a way to give back and to see one of those parents come up and in tears say, I haven't seen my child relax and have that much fun in the last 6 years. It's like this,
yeah,
we're taking it for granted. We're out here doing something we love to do. It's
yeah,
easy for us. That's the least we can do to share some of our passion, some of our time. So no,
yeah.
it's
So, but if anyone wants to send us thoughts, comments, ideas, requests, whatever, elktalkpodcast.com.
yep.
Is that right,
Yeah,
Corey?
just click the contact tab there, and
So,
we, I think last year and it seems like every year, About this time, about March or so, we start getting a lot of questions. Right now, we're getting a lot of comments and we're running into people at trade shows, but pretty soon we'll start getting a lot of comments. So send your comments or your questions in because that can become the entire basis for some of these podcast episodes. We can go through and look at some of
Yeah.
those listener questions and give you feedback on the questions you might have.
Yeah. So
Make up something because
anyhow,
we don't know the
yeah.
we don't know the answer, but we'll make up something and make you think we
Oh
know it.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm blown away when I go to events how many people listen to this podcast. I'm like, if you people only knew what little I contribute to this, you guys should ask for my removal and have Corey do the podcast. But
No,
uh,
it's good. I think just the
or-
the the conversations we're able to have and the experiences we've had cover a lot of broad horizons that, I think we
yeah,
complement experience-wise really well. So,
yeah. Should we do one about financial and tax advice with elk hunting? Maybe that's the one we should do someday. You can give them the financial advice. I'll give them the tax advice.
what I'm not even sure where you're going with this one, but I'm pretty sure there's not good not there's no good sound financial advice when it comes to being a hunter. Just know that it's gonna be
No.
painful.
Yeah, maybe we should step way outside our bounds and give psychological advice about the psychological benefits of being a hunter.
Or maybe we
Because
could. I think
uh,
we need therapy as much as anybody, though. So maybe we can talk about some of that too, because
oh,
hunting is
mm,
therapy. But after several years of
yeah,
elk hunting, you probably need to go see a therapist as well.
yeah, there's a pretty good chance of that. I'm past due. My wife would say he needed to go see a therapist a long time ago, but
Yeah.
I could never find one of them that hunted. So I was like, if he doesn't hunt, he's not going to be my therapist, or she. So
Uh,
oh well. Well, Corey, I'm gonna have to go blow my nose here. I know
okay.
that sounds really gross, and the audience is like, we didn't need that to hear that, Randy, but it's all I can do to hang in here with. You ever try to listen to something when you're under about 6 inches of water?
Yeah. Just
That's what I
echoes
feel
and
right now.
pressure.
My ear, yeah, my ears are so stuffed up, even with this headset on. I feel like I'm under about 6 inches of water. But
Yeah.
oh well.
Trade
So
show
if you
season.
said
You
something that
caught the Shanghai chicken flu or whatever it is you catch every year, and it
yeah,
spreads.
Shanghai chicken flu. Now I think we're past COVID far enough. I can go back to saying that. I mean, when you grew up in northern Minnesota, if you got some sort of bug, you called, the old boys are like, I got the Shanghai chicken flu. Well, I've been saying that for 30, 40 years. And then COVID comes along and I say the Shanghai chicken flu, I thought I was going to get beat up. It was not a political statement. So
Uh,
here I am. I slept on some feather pillow that the Shanghai chicken had left their pox in or something. So I don't know. Yeah.
uh,
So
yeah.
the next one we might have to do from the ER or something. You never know.
I hope not. Just go blow your nose, and hopefully that solves the
Uh,
issue here.
yeah. Or you and Donnie will have to do it.
Oh, that
So
would be. I think we've seen
uh,
enough. Anybody that's watching Destination Elk knows that I hunted with Donnie in Wyoming the first series, and Donnie just doesn't say a lot. And so I end up doing a lot of
mm,
the talking. And then I hunted with my son Isaac the next part of the series, and he's a lot like Donnie. He just sits there and nods
really?
and says, "Yep."
Uh,
And you get him out in the
mm,
field, and you can't get him to quit talking, but you
yeah.
get him in front of a camera, and he kind of seizes up a little.
Yeah. No, we run into that a lot when we're filming. People are sitting around camp. Man, they just got story after story. But when they see that red button on that camera, it's like they stiffen up. They're like, mm, uh, uh. Like, come on, man, you got some really great stories to tell. Let them out here. But oh well.
Yeah.
But, all right, Corey, you have a great day.
You too.
We'll circle back up and I'll give a report maybe in a week or two about how my Shanghai chicken flu is re- resolving itself. So,
I hope you get feeling better.
yeah. All right. Take care.
You too.
Thanks for being here, folks.